Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154, where we are following Tullo 15 of the Fadin clan in the Tier 9 reward French medium tank, the Char Futur 4. This vehicle is obtainable through the Battle Pass, and you basically progress through it. As you get through certain stages, you pick up tokens, and those tokens are exchangeable for tanks. Now, I believe by completing all three chapters of Battle Pass Season 7, you'll actually get enough tokens to be able to exchange for one of these tanks. So the cheapest tanks going are for 9 tokens, and Char Futur 4 being one of the older tanks to enter the Battle Pass mix. In fact, it predates the whole concept of World of Tanks Battle Pass. It's very accessible and quite a nifty tank. A lot of very French characteristics to it. In particular being the hard-hitting auto-loader. So you get 4 shots, each shot 390 hit points, so quite powerful. There is a bit of a long intra-clip reload, so you're not necessarily able to just sort of drive out and start blasting, because it'll take you sort of 10.5 seconds to do a full clip dump. So that's probably not all that advisable. But the penetration is pretty good. You get 264 millimeters of penetration with the standard shells, which is quite good for Tier 9, but also quite good for Tier 9 is the 330 millimeters of heat penetration that you get with the premium shells. So very wise to take at least a clip or 2 of that along, because you never know what you're going to run into. Now in this case, Tullo 15 has got a bit of a mix. He's got 8s below him and 10s above him. So he'll just have to adapt to the situation as it presents itself on the battlefield. One thing I have found with Char Futur 4 myself, I find the vertical travel of the gun is a little bit awkward. You only get 7.5 degrees gun depression, which is a little bit, feels a little bit awkward for an oscillating weapon. You also only get 11.5 degrees on the vertical as well, so it limits your ability to shoot up a slope in many cases, which when you're traveling through undulating terrain, you can find that a little bit problematic to navigate at times. But I mean, otherwise, it's just a matter of positioning your vehicle to suit the targets that are available, and I guess looking at when they present themselves. The guns otherwise reasonably accurate. It functions quite nicely as a sort of Ledium, if you like, a light medium tank. But looks like Tullo's got the drop on the Char Futur 4 here. They've tried to push forward. He's instantly taken about 800 hit points off them, and ends up sending them back to the garage ultimately. So with 390 hit points per shot, and you've got a clip potential of nearly 1600 damage, you have quite significant kill potential with this vehicle. Again, 10.5 seconds to dump your mag though, so you don't want to leave yourself hanging out in the breeze, because armor is not a characteristic of this vehicle. So far the scores are relatively even. It's a little bit unclear as to who's winning on this particular flank. Tullo's team initially had the initiative on the hill, then the enemy team seems to have taken it back. Some ambitious scouting by the ELC even 90 to sort of press what they thought might have been a bit of an advantage has not turned out all that well for the ELC even 90. It's now on just 64 hit points and will be relegated to bush scouting for the rest of this battle. There were a couple of vehicles that we were aware of that had creeped up. Here's wonderful. We've got a 110 making an excellent contribution to its team right out the gate with a red line deployment in A0. So I guess they're going to have the sort of game outcome they deserve with that sort of deployment. Skoda T27 still playing the back edge of the windmill. Of course, the Skoda T27s has a much faster clip dump potential than Char Futur 4, and that's sort of one of the things that the Czech mediums really have going in their favour. Just very short intra-clip reload, very fast clip dumps, and then they can sort of run away for the reload. So Tullo's team managing to regain the initiative on the 8-0 lines, such that they're now able to get crossfire in towards enemy elements that are occupying the 5 line. Tullo takes a somewhat ineffective hit from the 110, and a bit of blind fire back in their general direction has potentially caused a bit of damage to the 110 as well. Not quite sure. It was blind fire. We'll possibly find out at the end, or the next time we see the 110 and it's got bugger all hit points. Certainly that is one way to find out. But certainly at this point in time, anything that Tullo 15 sees, he's got the T49 and Centurion Action 10 behind him to hopefully send a bit of spotting damage Tullo 15's way. But any poking of this bush is going to be a little bit hazardous if the ELC even 90 or the Skoda T27 are in the area. But he's managed to light up the WZ114, the other Tier 9, full-blown premium tank that's entered the game of late. But it's the T30 that's presenting a bit of a prize on this occasion. You can see just tracking that reticle around to look for those weak spots. Unfortunately, may have been spotted there and had gotten the T49 damaged as he slipped in behind it. A bit of an occupational hazard, I guess, as a light tank, where you've got you're working in close proximity with other vehicles that might get lit. Very important to be sort of somewhat aware of your surroundings there, so that I guess your friendlies don't have a chance to wander in behind you. And for pity's sake, if you are aware of your proximity to light tanks, for goodness sake, don't walk up, don't drive up behind them, because that will often get them killed. There's something with some very competent eyes still around this area. Quite likely the ELC even 90, which has been lit up again. Tullo 15 tracks it and lands the killing shot there, taking off its last 64 hit points. Now this will hopefully give Tullo and team the advantage of eyes on this flank. The Skoda T27 still potentially hanging around, the Chinese heavy, the 110 still potentially hanging around, but we're not going to be too confident of its spotting prowess on this flank. The 105mm main gun on the Char Futur 4 has been pretty hungry this game. We've used all but 3 of our standard shells. And to that end, Tullo wants to make sure that he has a full magazine available, so he is switching to the heat. There's a bit of a school of thought here with low capacity guns like you get on Char Futur 4 or Bachatillon 25 TAP, that perhaps you should just run all premium or no premium. Just to avoid these situations where you may end up with incomplete mags. I probably disagree with that a little bit. No, that Skoda T27 is hanging on the lee side of that hill, but Tullo 15 is there to knock them out. That's eaten 2 of his heat rounds. It just leaves 6. Overall, Tullo's team appears to have seized the advantage here. They have they're 3 guns up on the enemy team, but they're dealing with an enemy that has backs to the wall at this point in time. Tullo's doing quite well in avoiding critical damage from these Chinese heavy tanks. He had bounced a shot from the 110 earlier, and now a heat round from the WZ 111, which was the Queeling. So that would have been loosing at it with all sorts of fire and fury that we didn't get to see, just owing to it being about 400 meters away. Tullo managing to get the crossfire on the Scorpion, and that's been Tullo's 5th kill of the game. Still 3 shots left in the auto reloader. In the auto loader rather. Looking down range of the Waffenträger Ausführung Panzer IV. Wasn't actually spotted until he fired there. Possibly pulling back behind some opaque cover before firing might have resulted in a slightly different outcome for Tullo there. But not to worry, that's nearly 6,000 damage inflicted, at least that we know about at this point in time. Rounding in, they are still holding at a 3-gun advantage, but probably have about twice the hit points. Coming in on the 110, its turret is facing completely the wrong way, and Tullo can get in and place put a well-placed shot into the side. And can he do it again for the other Chinese heavy tank in the game here? Not quite, just missing the back end of the WZ111 Queeling. And it's the T26E5 that knocks it out. Moving to engage the STB-1 now. It's looking in a fairly sick hit point position, not one-shottable for Tullo yet. The T26E5 is also moving in, but Tullo is there first. Gets the shot in and is then on the reload, so there's no choice but to keep running, keep moving. Hopefully that's distracted the STB-1. It's forced its turret to turn towards Char Futur 4, and that will hopefully give his teammates the distraction and the edge they need to finish that off. The Emil-2, enemy Emil-2 is still in the game, and Tullo only has 2 shots left. Unfortunately for the Emil-2, they are both the heat rounds. Of course, this guy is not going down without a fight. They've knocked down Tullo's friendly Emil-2. And only 1 shell left and 1-shottable Emil-2. What's it going to be? Dead to the last shell. Very well done there by Tullo 15 of the Fiddy clan in the Tier 9 reward French medium tank, the Char Futur 4. Let's take a look at the results. For his efforts there, Ace Mastery badge and absolute fistful of Epic and Battle Heroes medals here. We've got the Top Gun medal for accounting for at least 6 enemy kills. He's actually hit the upper limit of that with 7 kills inflicted upon the enemy. He's picked up the High Caliber medal for causing damage in a way that accounts for at least 20% of the hit point pool of the enemy team. Not a bad effort at all, considering there were tier 10s above them as well, with a damage teeth of over 7,300 hit points. So very well done there. And of course we've got this medal here, which very exclusive one, the Fadin's medal, and that is awarded where you destroy the last enemy vehicle in the match with your last shell. I've only featured this medal once on the channel before. It's definitely not one that comes up every day. So very nice one to add to your collection there, Tullo 15. A couple of other badges of merit here. We've got the spotting medal for enabling allies to cause at least 1,000 hit points of spotting damage. In this case, nearly 2,600 hit points worth of damage inflicted by assist. We've also picked up the Bruiser medal for damaging enemy vehicle modules or crew members at least 5 times in the course of the battle, and the Fire for Effect medal, which, well, you always get that when you get that. Looking at the team scores, we are well ahead of the second comers. We've got the T26E5 and Emil-2 that had predominantly fought their way through the middle of town, and were there pretty well till the very end, but that is just quite a significant gap between the next player there by Tullo 15, which is indicative of a very good game indeed. Special mention on the enemy teams. There were some quite high damage scores as well, with Something Wong-san on the in the Emil-2 and Rhino Prime 502 in the WZ111 Queeling. Having a look at the detailed report, this turned out to be a profitable game for Tullo 15 under the circumstances. Remember, this is a reward tank, not a premium tank, and as such, you don't get the credit boost with reward tanks that you do with premium tanks. You still get the crew XP boost, and you still get the combat experience boost, which is very handy, but not the credit boost. So do be aware of that when you start investing your tokens in Battle Pass reward tanks, because they are reward tanks. Now, Fiddy was running battle payments at the time, which is Obviously boosted this figure up a little bit, but still, he's come away with an Ace Mastery badge of that order, and has come away with an extra 13,000 net credits on top of the battle payments. So very nice result there. And if you've got a game that you'd like to see featured on the channel, then please reach out over Discord or any of the links below. We'll do our best to sort you out. Please also check out the About section on our YouTube channel. That's got a lot of the community submission and guidelines there. But of course, we're always happy to review them in the case of a personal campaign mission completion with honours, or just a really close game. In the meantime, take care out there.